Hello and welcome to another episode of the INNOTECH podcast series, where we spotlight innovation, leadership, and stories that shape the change makers of tomorrow. I'm your host, Clint, and today we're up to discuss a very timely and special episode. Our topic for this podcast is Learning Forward, the Future of Education in Southeast Asia, Innovation and Technology in Education, a conversation with SEAMEO INNOTECH. Joining us is a visionary leader in education and innovation. She has over 15 years of experience working in the field of education with a focus on ASEAN affairs and educational development. She has held various positions at the Ministry of Education Thailand, including Director of Educational Development Unit, Regional Education Service Number 9, Head of ASEAN Affairs, and Senior Foreign Relations Officer, responsible for international cooperation on education. She has also worked as an educator and a Senior Program Officer for Thai National Commission for UNESCO, a passionate advocate for education and innovation, and is currently the Center Deputy Director of SEAMEO INNOTECH, a regional center that champions transformative learning across Southeast Asia. Please welcome Ms. Kochakorn Khattapan-Acidre.
Thank you very much, Clint, for the brief introduction, and also thank you very much for being with me today. I'm so glad to be here, discussing about the innovation and technology in education, and also about SEAMEO INNOTECH, because this is going to be this podcast is going to be valuable for not just only for the school leaders, but also the policymaker and also for the teachers in school. I hope that I can share some experience from Thailand and also from Southeast Asia to all of them.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming here with us today. But let's start now with a powerful idea. Education is for life. For you, ma'am, what does truly mean in today's Southeast Asian context?
Education is for life. Let me give you an example of why that is kind of like my belief. I learned this from my former minister. He said that education is for life because education is not just in the classroom. We already know the world has evolved, right? Education has no wall. Education has no classroom. It can be anytime, anywhere. But at this point, I think at this time, we might move a little bit further than education. It's learning. Learning is for life. Because learning, it means that every day you learn. It doesn't mean that you go to school and learn. You wake up in the morning, that is already learning. So what we really have to think about learning is for life is that learning has no classroom. Learning has no wall. And the current situation, the current world, it's like changing very fast. You see the technology and you see all the world that is moving. Everything is fast. So what do we have to learn? What are our learners need to be? How do we groom them to be ready to this fast changing world? That is why I'd like to emphasize this, that learning is really for life.
It's really a very good observation, ma'am. That's a good in terms of the perspective of how education should be a venue for preparation for real life world.
Yes.
That's really a beautiful framework.
Yes.
Could you give an example how this plays out in real life with all these teachers, real life classrooms? How can this become applicable, in today's world?
For me, first of all, as I mentioned that when there is no more classroom, learning can be anytime, anywhere. The thing that what we need to start focusing at this point is not just the core skill or the academic skills that we have learned. I think during our time that we've learned mathematics, science, all those core functions. But right now what they are discussing about the foundational skills, that the soft skills, those are the adaptability skills, the critical thinking, the communication skills. And for me, I'd like to add another one is the language proficiency. If those skills are able to translate into the activities for the learner to be adapt, to be improved, that would help them to be able to live in the real life. Because with that, they would be able to learn by themselves. They don't have to wait for us to tell them that, hey, this is the subject that you have to learn. Not anymore. They know what they need and they know what is best for them because they know how to analyze and think of what is best for them. So that would be something that I believe that we should focus this in the education and learning at this era.
So that's really like a theory to practice with all those practical skills. So for
Yes.
example, when they go out, they know how to write a letter addressed to their bosses when they are in the workplace.
Yes.
So indeed, I truly agree with you on that area. Now, let's look at some exciting trends you are seeing in education and technology across the region. By the way, when we say region, we refer to the Southeast Asian region. So what do you think about those?
Oh, if we will focus in our region right now with regarding to technologies, the work of our center, actually we have the research. Well, we see that the development of technology in our region is varied. Some of our member states, they are advanced in terms of using technology in classroom, while some of them, they still face some challenges. And so far, what are the challenges that I can categorize here? I can probably summarize here is that the first thing is the skills of the teacher. It's not that we don't have the infrastructure or we don't have enough materials. All of the countries in our member states, we already have those infrastructure, but the skills of the teacher, they are still lack of some of skills. I believe that you probably know best also.
Yeah.
This is one of the work of your office.
Yes.
Because if they don't have the skills to use those tools is meaningless. So that is number one thing that we should discuss. The second thing is that having the technology, it doesn't mean that it brings everybody closer. But sometimes for me, with technology, we widen our relationship, we widen our development. Because those who are far, we are not just talking about the electrical, we are not talking about the material, but also those who are far, how would they know how to use this? We cannot just only give them the machine and then, hey, you learn how to do it. It's not everybody would be capable to do that. So those are the things that I believe that happen in Southeast Asia. And then the last thing that I believe that we probably have to also discuss is that apart from apart from the skills of the teachers, apart from the rural area that wouldn't be able to access, another thing is also the government intervention, the intention of the government of how would they really see this as a priority. Because using the technology will always have two sides. Things has two sides of the coins, right? We cannot say that, well, it will always good. But how can we make use of the technology that is already exists for the better, for the accessibility, for the opportunity of all the learners in Southeast Asia? That is something that the government need to address and focus.
That's correct, ma'am. And I think if I'm going to summarize that, you were talking about teacher competence, you were talking about inclusivity in terms of reaching out to the rural areas or marginalized areas. And lastly, it's all about the government support, especially in the area of technological support. Okay. But now, I think earlier you discussed also with us of being practical, right? How are these three things, especially reaching out to the rural or marginalized areas? Can you give us some examples wherein those teacher competency support, we have the inclusivity, and as well as the government support, are really, truly reaching out to those areas?
Well, for me, to bring those out to the area, the technologies is the champion of this. Because as I mentioned, technology has two sides of the coin. Even though they widen the development, and sometimes probably those in the far-flung area, they might not be able to reach technology. But technology has a good side. It means that they can bring those opportunities to those in the marginalized area as well. For example, you don't have electricity in one of the region, if ever. What technology can do is that we have the solar cell. And for the internet, it's not that difficult anymore that we have the Starlink, right?
Yeah.
Everything,
Musk,
yes,
Starlink.
everything is connected. So it's like, that is the way of how to improve the accessibility to education to all the learners. But come back to our conversation is that, but how can this happen? I mean, if those devices, those opportunities be able to arrive at that place, who will teach them? How will we do that? Do we have the material? Do we have the courses? Do we have the trainer who would be able to train the people at that area to be able to use those equipments? That's another thing. So that's why it goes back to the government. The intention, the implementation, that we need the government to be able to push this forward. And with this, one government may not be able to do this alone. This is the common challenges of Southeast Asia. But we have 11 countries in Southeast Asia. Why don't we partner? We learn from what is best. We see Singapore right now, they advance up into like personalized, using AI for personalized learning. We see Malaysia that has Delima platform, using AI, using all technology, putting together in learning management system, and rolled out throughout the country, all schools using one platform. We see the good example of the Philippines, that Secretary Angara partnered with the private sector, and each private sector helped the development of the school. There's a lot of good practice in Southeast Asia already. So this can be one of the ways that we can make this happen.
It's great that you mentioned all those innovative practices from other countries. So those were the opportunities that this Southeast Asian region can offer to the world. Now, with all those innovative practices, I think there are also some challenges. You've visited all those ministries of education in Southeast Asia. You mentioned the 11 SEAMEO member countries. Based on your visits, can you please identify what are those key barriers from all those Southeast Asian experiences?
Well, actually, this is repeated in many countries. Teachers. The skills of the teachers. Teachers are the first person who will be affected of all the changes. That's why, for me, I value teachers' profession, because they have to be the first to adapt. They have to be the first to learn before they would be able to transmit all the knowledge to the learner. And they face like various kind of learners. They really have to try to improve them one by one, try to understand them one by one, to make sure that, well, that kids, children would be able to grow in the way that they require, or they would like to be. So the challenge is the capability of teachers. How fast can we help improving teacher competency? Because it's not that the teacher does not know, but things has been moving so fast. So how can we reskill and upskill the teacher profession for them to be able to equip with this fast changing world? That is really the challenge throughout Southeast Asia, if you ask me.
Indeed, I think that's really a sad part, okay, of our observations, where the teachers, we are not blaming the teachers, but actually we are just trying to identify that there's a need for teacher professional development.
Yes.
Okay? And especially, for example, with the use of AI, we kind of just use the AI without teaching them the skill how to use AI. Okay. Now, this particular key barrier to these innovative practices, how are these being addressed, or how can this be addressed?
Well, let me give you the good example of each country that I've been observed. Of course, in Singapore, in Malaysia, they have, also in Brunei, they have the teachers training office that well, of course, I think most of our member states has the teachers development office that take care of this, but that would be like the work of the small group that handle how many teachers in that country, because well, definitely we have like I think more than 100, or I think in the Philippines you have like million teachers. So things might not be easy. So that's why for me to address this partnership, it's something that is very important. We might not be able to address everyone, and not everyone need the training, because some of them, they might already have the skills. Some of them, especially the young teachers, that well, they grow with the technology, they might be able to use this. So well, for me, the equitable way of doing this is we have to prioritize, and also each country will really need to focus on where would they like that education to be. For me, we cannot address everything in one time. Priority is important, and that's what we really have to plan out of how things would be. And at this point, for me, this moment is the post-pandemic era, right? So we have learned already when we are not prepared, what happened. So at this time, why don't we prepare ourselves for the unexpected future?
I guess I am also very certain that SEAMEO INNOTECH has been at the forefront, okay, of being the leading partner of those National Educators Academy of the Philippines with the Department of Education, of course, the National Institute of Education, and other ministries of education. And I think we are very good at that, okay, of partnership, okay, with those teacher training institutions. Now, let's get into this exciting part, because we are talking about already those called solutions, okay, to those key barriers. Let's talk about the success stories, because I think the audience would like to see, okay, or to hear from us, is this really working, okay? So can you share some standout success stories from Southeast Asia?
Well, first thing first, I think I should mention about the work of our center, that we work with Southeast Asia. We have the MT40, it's the mobile technology for teachers, that we roll out the module that will support the teachers to learn how to use the mobile technology to deal with learner. But apart from that, we also have the module for the parents as well, because we do care that learner, they are not just only in school, but parents are somebody who is very important also. So that is also something that we need to address. We also have the module for parents that they would able to follow, because parent, it doesn't mean just only father and mother, but how about grandfather, grandmother or those relatives that they want to communicate with the children, the Gen Z, or right now the Gen Beta, that they might not speak the same language with them anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the things that we do care for also. We also have the chatbot program, and we also have the principal game that is also, we use the gamification to improve the school leaders. So those are the things that right now we use the technology to help accessible, to improve the opportunity of all the teachers and learners in Southeast Asia to be able to adapt themselves. This is to support the work of the Ministry of Education of Southeast Asia. But apart from that, we also see some good example. I mentioned a little bit about the Lima of Malaysia, that they partner with a tech company, like for example, Google, YouTube, all the AI, Canva. They combine all the teaching materials that is digital into one platform that all the schools in that country can use, and they train that teacher how to use this, and they really use this to help that learner to create to create both the homework and also to do like exam and those kind of things. And they teach the learner also how to use the social media for learning. So those are the things that happening already in Malaysia. And another one that is very interesting is Singapore. They use that platform. They have also the learning management system that when the learners like doing the exam, they use the AI algorithm to be able to like identify the need to improve of that learners, which called the personalized learning. So those are the things that already happening, existing in our region in Southeast Asia. So this is so exciting for me because, well, for me, Thailand, we have the learning management system, but it's still in a way for the teacher to use to communicate and to teach the learners. But well, for them to do the personalized learning improvement, that is another level. So those are the things that I think is very interesting, and this is where we can learn and also adapt this for the
And
Southeast
of course,
Asian
SEAMEO
country.
INNOTECH has been significant, okay, with all those innovation because we are always in partnership with the Ministries of Education in Southeast Asia. And thank you for that, for those great success stories. They are truly inspiring. Now, what's making this innovation successful? What do you think? Could you give us some principles about making this innovation successful?
First thing first is that I believe that everything happened with one person. Because if you notice that our conversation, I know that we are the center of innovation and technology. We develop all the technologies. We use the technology to improve the life of the learners, to ensure that they be able to have an opportunity to learn. But the thing is, at the end of the day, who is learning? Is the technology, is it AI that is learning? No. It's the human, it's the person who is learning. So that's why, for me, coming back to oneself, to make everything happen in the way that we have been discussed, oneself has to understand first, then the community, then, well, the country. So we have to start helping each other in the way that we could. Of course, the school leaders, for me, the school leaders are the key important person in this picture, because they are the one closest to learner at this point while learning is still in school. They are the one managing the schools. They are the one who taking care of all teachers. And learning is not just about you go in front of the class and lecture, but it's about learning environment. If the school leaders does not have the skills to manage the schools, both physical and also psychological, how can that school be able to improve or embrace the development of everybody? So that's the point that I believe that is very important. So the school leaders are the key success of this development.
Indeed, ma'am. So I think coming from you, it's really the school leaders as the catalysts of change or success, okay, with coming from the self, community, and of course, the country as a whole.
Yes.
Now, let's move forward. Okay. If we had to set the agenda for the next 5 years, what should be our top priorities?
Human.
Wow.
Very simple, but I think that is powerful for me because right now, the conversation that goes around us, even our work here at SEAMEO INNOTECH, we talk about how can we advance this technology, how can we make it better. But at the end of the day, don't forget that the person who used those technologies is human. How can human live with technology? Because right now, there's still some resistance also, that there are also those who fear to use the technology. So if they are fear, how can they move forward? And those who already familiar with technology, how can they use it wisely? Those are the agenda that I think we need to address in the future, because we cannot stop the technology. It's since the globalization time that the Internet of Things happen and the world is connected. You cannot stop it. So at the end of the day, how are we going to live in this fast-changing world? That is the future that we have to foresee and prepare our learners to be able to deal with this world.
That's really powerful. We should not be slaves of the technology or AI itself. Okay.
Because we cannot be slaves, because how does AI emerge? Is it by human?
Yeah. Should be the other way.
Right? So at the end of the day, it's really human. So how are we going to deal with this, and how are our young generation live with that in the way that they use that as a tool for themselves to grow, not just be dominated by the tools.
That's truly correct. And the bottom line really is the human.
Yes.
Now, I'm sorry to say this, but to end our conversation, what's now your bold vision of the future of education in Southeast Asia?
For me, I like to go back to where I started. Learning is for life. Don't stop. It's not just the learner in school. You and me also. At this point, is that something that we haven't learned? Then learn. And that's also another word that I think I'd like to emphasize here is the word unlearn. There are skills that may be valid in the past, but at this moment, it may not be accurate anymore. But it doesn't mean that in the past is not good. But at this point, when the world evolves, that knowledge may not be relevant to this world anymore. So we need to learn how to unlearn things also. Don't just stick to the past, and don't just repeat things, because when the world has changed, we have to grow. So learning is for life.
Take note, it's really learn and unlearn. Now, at this time, ma'am, we're done with those formalities.
And now I'm more excited.
We would like to know more about ma'am on the personal level, all right?
Okay.
So we will flash the 2 words, okay, and just choose only one.
Okay.
You should choose quickly, okay, and say it quickly, okay? All right, so let's start. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so
I think so.
welcome to the INNOTECH Fast Talk. All right.
Okay.
First, red or pink?
Red.
Okay, very fast, huh? That's already 1 second. Morning or evening?
Morning.
Adobo or sinigang?
Sinigang.
Wow, very fast. Orchids or sunflower?
Orchid.
Wow. Bangkok or Phuket?
Bangkok.
Wow. Bali or Boracay?
Bali.
Oh, okay. Shoes or slippers?
Slippers.
Slippers. Oh, this one. This is quite tricky. Innovation or technology?
Innovation.
Innovation. Teachers or students?
Teachers.
Wow, you're very consistent, Mama.
Yes.
Peace or happiness?
Peace.
Peace. That's all. You're very quick. How many seconds? All right. So thank you, ma'am, for doing this fast talk with us.
Okay, so thank you so much for this. Also, I'm still afraid of what would be
There's no interpretation
the
about your
interpretation.
personality after
okay.
this.
All right, so
Okay.
well, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share. This is my the belief that I believe that I want to translate, and I mean I want to send this to all of education. Educators and also the learners in Southeast Asia, that I don't want them to stop learning. And this is also the message to all the learners in Southeast Asia as well, that it's not just today that you learn in school, but learning is really like lifelong learning, is throughout the life. So I just hope that, well, our conversation today would benefit, well, the learners and also the educator in Southeast Asia. So thank you again, Clint.
That was truly an incredible discussion, Ma'am Kochakorn Khattapan-Acidre. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Learning Forward, the future of education in Southeast Asia. A big thank you to SEAMEO INNOTECH Center Deputy Director, Ma'am Kochakorn Khattapan-Acidre, for sharing her insights on how innovation and technology are shaping the future of education in Southeast Asia. As we've heard, the future isn't something we wait for. It's something we build, one bold idea and one learner at a time. If you found value in this conversation, share it and keep the conversation going. Don't forget to follow us on all our official social media accounts, which are now flashed on your screen. Because when we learn forward, we all move forward. Until next time, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep pushing education into the future. This is Clint saying, have a great day ahead.